What's up guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll show you how to make a swimsuit. So let's get started. To cut this swimsuit, you fold your fabric into two places and then you take the length from your shoulder to your crotch plus 1 inch. So for mine I have 30, so it's the length from your shoulder to your crotch plus 1 inch. We're going to cut the front part first, and then I'll use this place as my shoulder line. So you take your shoulder measurement divided by 2. For mine I have 8 inches, and then you mark it here, and then you remove 2 inches. So I'll mark it here. So it's your shoulder length divided by 2 minus 2. So for mine I have 6 inches. And then on this line I'll take 9 inches for my armhole. I'll mark it here. So on this 9 inches mark, I'll take my bust measurement. So it's your bust measurement divided by 4. I have 9 inches. I'll mark it here. For the waist measurement, I'll place my tape here and take 16 inches. I'll mark it here. And then you take the measurement of your waist circumference divided by 4. For mine, I have 8.5. I'll mark it here. For the hip measurement this time, I'll place it here and then mark 22 inches. And then I'll mark it here. And then take my hip measurement divided by 4. So I have 10.5 inches. I'll mark it here. I'll connect the lines together. So after connecting the hip measurement to the waist measurement and to the bust measurement, I'll come over here and take my armhole curve with 1 inch. I'll mark it here and then draw a curved line from here down to this place. And then on the crotch length, I'll take 2.5 inches. I'll mark it here. And then I'll connect the line from here to the hip measurement. I'll make a curved line like this and then connect it to the hip measurement. I used 2.5 inches for this crotch length, and then by the time I open the pieces I'll have 5 inches. And then I draw a curved line here down to the hip measurement, and then I'll go ahead and cut. And so after cutting, I'll cut off 2 inches from this part. I'll mark out 2 inches. So I marked out 2 inches and then I'll cut it off. And then I'll just cut off 1/2 inch from this part, just to give it the shape that I want. I'll set the front bodice aside. For the back bodice, I folded my fabric into 2 and then I'll place my front bodice on it. For the back bodice, I added 3 inches to this part. So it's going to be 3 inches longer than the front bodice. And then I'll trace out the back bodice. And when I get to this part, I'm going to draw a line like this and then connect it to the front bodice, because the back bodice is going to be covered than the front bodice. And then I'll mark this part, and then I'll mark it and stop 3 inches away from the waistline. So I'll stop here. So you need to add at least 2 inches to this part so that the back part is more covered than the front. And then I stopped 3 inches away from the waistline. And then I'll flip the front bodice and then mark out the back bodice like this. and then I'll go ahead and cut. So after cutting, this is what we have for the back bodice. So here's the front bodice. So with the right sides facing each other, you join the crotch together. So after joining the crotch together, you go ahead and hem the waistline. So the next thing is to go ahead and join the sides of the swimsuit. So after joining the sides of the swimsuit, you go ahead and try it on. For mine, the front part was too wide, so I'll need to take off at least 1 inch from each side. So I'm going to carefully cut off 1 inch from this part. And you be careful so you don't cut the back bodice. There you go. So the next thing is to go ahead and hem the armholes. So I cut out strips of fabric to hem the armhole and the tie area. So to hem the armhole, you place your strip on the right side of the swimsuit. You place it here and then you sew it together. So you're sewing right sides together. You sew it to the end of the armhole. You do the same for the other side. To hem the tie area, you take your piece of fabric, you place it right sides together, and then you sew it along the ties, the tie opening. So after sewing the strip to the right side of the armhole area, you fold it in like this, and then you top stitch it. You do the same for the tie opening. I've also cut out a long strip, and then I'll go ahead and sew this together. Right sides facing each other, I'll sew it together and then flip it inside out. I've also cut out 6 pieces of tiny pieces. I'll go ahead and sew this together, right sides facing each other. I'll sew it together and then flip it inside out. So this will serve as the loop for the swimsuit. So the next thing is to hem this area, the neckline. So you go ahead and fold this in with at least 1 inch, and then we're going to leave a space for the rope to go in, and then you sew it from here down to this place. So here's the neckline. Remember, we made 6 loops for the back side, so you go ahead and fold this like this, and then you pin it to this area, and then you pin 3 on each side, and then you go ahead and stitch it to the back side. So after stitching it to the back side, you hem it with your strip. You place it like this, and then you sew it together, and then fold it in and top stitch it, like I did for the armhole. So after fixing the loops, the last thing is to lace the swimsuit. So we're going to take the rope that we made, and then we're going to pin it on both edges. So you pin it, and then we take one edge, you slide it in the neck area, you slide it into the casing, and then you bring it out, and then you take this part, you slide it into one of the loops, you bring it out, and then you take this part, you slide it into this part of the loop, or this side of the loop, and then you take this part again, you slide it over to this one, to the left side, and then you take the left one again, you slide it over to the right loop, and then you take this one, you slide it over to the left loop. So after lacing, you take the pins off, and then you make a knot here like this, you make another knot on the edge, and then you tie it together. And that's it. So here's the swimsuit. Please like and share this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not. I love you for watching. Thank you.